think big, start small, scale fast, right? So you know where you want to go, but be reasonable about what you're going to have to do to get there and what those milestones are, what the critical path looks like. But I'm a big fan of the 85% rule. It's more of a risk-based approach, but you lean in to CIS. That's another framework. The CIS 18 is obviously very common, sort of competitive with NIST, CSF almost, and other requirements. But what I like about CIS is that they look at controls from an implementation group perspective. And so you got the IG1, IG2, IG3. And the thought process there is kind of at its baseline. Implementation group 1 is the most important. This is where you start. And the reason for that is if you actually suffered a security incident as a result of failure to execute in the IG1 controls, it's considered catastrophic because it's the brand damage is pretty explosive, right? Like you read about a breach and then you find out that they were doing something simple. They didn't have any multi-factor authentication or something like this. And everyone's just like, are you kidding me? That's the most basic control in the book. Of course you got breached, right? And so, but even aside from like that, I like the 85% rule because there's some stats, you can Google this. It says that with just 5 CIS controls, you can mitigate 85% of risk. And so if you think about that thoughtfully, there's 18 control families in the CIS. The safeguards are going to take you over 100 plus different safeguards. That's very, very onerous. You're not going to be able to boil the ocean. But I can start with the 5 control families and mitigate 85% of risk. Where's the opportunity sit? I think for most organizations, they spend too much time chasing the outliers that really have much more narrow impact on that residual risk. It makes way more sense to try to execute as flawlessly as you possibly can against the 85%, right? So those are really basic things, but there are things like, do you have an inventory of all of your hardware? Do you have an inventory of all of your software? Do you have a vulnerability management program? Are you handling account management? Et cetera, et cetera. So the question is like, why are you off chasing some of these more sophisticated controls if you haven't managed the basics well? And so no matter what size organization you are, I'd say chase the 85%, right? Chase